Old Highway 101, the coast route through San Diego's North County communities. There might not be a more beautiful road anywhere. Right on the Pacific coast, this was once the main highway from San Diego to Los Angeles. And on a beautiful sunny September day, the Highway 101 Association held its first Beachin 101 cruise. Not a car show in a fixed location, but a car show on the road.
Yeah, let's get the cars to actually cruise on the old historic Highway 101.
That's John Daley of the Highway 101 Association and organizer of the event. And he said his group was surprised at the turnout, which saw all sorts of vehicles participating.
So what happened was, at the day of the event, we ended up getting almost 300 cars total, which for the first day, the exciting part about that is besides the cars that were signed up and registered, there was at least that many cars on the road besides. There was over 600 cars on the road that day cruising. It was really exciting.
Spectators could just sit and watch as classics, customs, hot rods, muscle cars, and other motorized vehicles cruise the route from Oceanside to Torrey Pines. They weren't hard to miss.
You couldn't believe it. I mean, we got things from, bumper cars that have been converted to automobiles all the way up to, we had a Myers Mannix with a big Chevy Corvette motor in it, So, I mean, we got everything from hot rods to classic cars to, we had a Model T from the San Diego Heritage Foundation that they drove over from Encinitas just to Del Mar and back. That's 1917 total stocker. I mean, everything you can imagine.
Drivers began their day at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, where you might see something like this classic 1950s Roadster parked right next to another 50s classic, Mike McCarville's Tri-5 Chevy wagon.
It's a 1957 Chevy Bel Air wagon, and it's got a 350 V8 in it with dual headers and dual exhaust. The interior is period correct, so it kind of looks like it's a 57 Chevy, but inside it's not.
A little bit more drivable,
right.
A little bit more fun.
Those are called smoothies on the wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
gives it a nice hot rod kind of look to it.
Yeah. If you ever see the movie, Jerry Lewis movie, Geisha Boy, right towards the end of that movie, he's coming back from Japan and he's driving down the road, leaving the airport, LAX, and there's a shot out the back of the window and you see this car.
Wow.
I mean, it looks exactly like this car. There's a four-door Bel Air wagon sitting there. So I've got that little clip from that movie.
You don't see many of these around anymore, but you may never have seen bumper cars on the highway.
Well, what you're looking at is the only 8 bumper cars that I know of in the world that are drivable and for the road. It's they go everywhere from 1932 on this one that's unfinished. We only have 50 miles on it. We're testing it today. That's the oldest one. Probably the newest one are these 2 right here. These came out of Europe. And this one is meant to look like an Alfa Romeo. This one is meant to look like a 58 Corvette. But they're the 50s generation of cars. They're powered by motorcycle motors. They're all water-cooled, 6-speed transmissions. Only thing they don't have is reverse, but it's easy enough to push them backwards.
So these were actual bumper cars.
These are original bumper cars, as you enjoyed in the amusement parks. I've kept the metal poles on the back just so people can look at them and this nostalgia will kick in and they'll appreciate them for what they are. The yellow one with the flames came out of Long Beach Pike. It was a documented car from Long Beach Pike when that amusement park shut down in the 60s. This unfinished 1932 came from Detroit, Michigan. I have one that this car right here came from New York. It was on Coney Island in New York, its original life.
Because I see they still have the rubber around them.
Yeah, I tried to put the rubber where I could. The 2 from Europe, it didn't work on the particular car as I was building it, and I wanted to do the different kind of pipes on it, and these looked pretty sleek by themselves.
At the Oceanside Pier, the bumper cars caused quite a stir.
No way, they got like a jet motor on that one. Yeah, they go about 45 miles an hour. I have no idea. I've never seen one.
They're absolutely 100% street legal.
Take a look at all the sharks, snakes, and birds that turned out for the beach cruise. Classics weren't limited to products from GM or Ford. Cars from Willys, Rambler, and this Hudson were shined up for the day.
Well, this is a 1950 Commodore 6 convertible. There weren't too many of them made. And this one was originally bought by an executive of the Disney company in San Fernando Valley. Shortly after he bought it, he had a heart attack and died. His wife sold it to a fellow who had a collection, and it went to his museum. And it sat there for 30 years. It had originally 70,000 original miles on it, and it's all original. It was ordered special with a vinyl interior rather than leather on purpose for some reason or other. I have no idea why, but anyway, you have to pay extra to go downgrade, but anyway, he did.
At the Del Mar Fairgrounds, owners were able to trade stories and show off their cars before hitting the road. The hot rod and custom community was out in force for the day. You couldn't miss these beauties.
It's a 1932 Ford Roadster. It's a zipper body. Darrell Zip only made 108 of these. They're really streamlined. They look lower than they really are because there's no cowl. It's a little longer than other 32s. I liked it because it just has that special look. It took 2 years to build. Got a 496 stroker, blown, 800 horsepower. It's all Lexus leather with Brazilian mahogany, so it just really makes it really pretty inside. But it also was made with the idea that it's going to be a fast car, and it is. It's real fast.
At the Oceanside Pier, I caught up with Mike and his Roadster.
It's like I said, it'll run 680 in the 8th, probably low 10, high 9 with traction on the quarter mile. It's over 100 miles an hour in 5 seconds. So, just because I love cars, high performance cars. I don't know what it is, but I took flying lessons 6-8 years ago, and my son loves to fly. I didn't have the passion for flying like he does, but you get me in this, and that makes my day. This is cruising along the coast, and there was something about just that melting away of stress, and just go.
Cars were judged and photographed at the Oceanside Pier.
We did what we call 30-30 judging. About 30 feet away, we judged them for about 30 seconds. So it was really a cruise kind of a judging, and it was fun to do this year.
In this beautiful spot, drivers had their picture taken and were able to show off their cars to the beach crowd.
The fun categories this time were the car that Gidget would like to ride in, and also the car that Dick Dale would like to play in. And what we did is we got a young girl who knew what Gidget was all about, and we let her choose a car. And her boyfriend happened to be a guitar player in a band, so it was perfect. We had those two kids picking it out, and they picked out the right cars.
The variety was impressive, as good as any of the popular cruise nights held all over San Diego County during the summer. But this was in the fall, taking advantage of the beach weather at its best. Organizers are already planning for next year. In the meantime, Highway 101 awaits.